call the meeting to order. Have we got any additions to the agenda? I see there's a couple on the sheet you handed out there.
Yes, Reeve, we've got a few additions to the agenda. First of all, item number 5, council should note that our delegation is not able to attend today. We expect that they will be back for our next regular council meeting, which is on October the 15th. We have an addition, 12A. Reeve wants to speak about the Métis celebration for Truth and Reconciliation Day that was attended yesterday. And item 15, meeting dates, please add item E, which is the EDA 2025 Leaders Summit and Conference. That's scheduled for April 9th to 11th, 2025 in Kananaskis. Councillor Westerland would like to speak on that. That's all I have, Reeve.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well, then let's have a motion to approve the agenda with the amendments. Donna, or Dallas? Yeah.
Yes, I'll move to adopt the agenda with amendments.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Adoption of the minutes, pages 12 to 20. Any corrections, any errors or omissions? Anthony?
Page 19.
Okay.
Motion number 542 in the bottom of the page there. Bart shouldn't be recorded as having voted. He stepped out and he returned after the vote.
Thanks for that.
And then there's one other one, Bart,
Go ahead.
on page 20. Motion 543. Likewise, Carol had stepped out, and so she shouldn't have been recorded to have been voting.
You got you, Tina. You got both of them. Yeah.
She does it on purpose.
Yeah, just a test. All right. So then a motion to approve the minutes with the changes. Donna?
I move the minutes of September 17th regular council meeting with the amendments.
Discussion. All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Rudy, any items to bring forward out of the full action list?
Four items to update. First of all, while I wasn't able to attend this meeting, it's my understanding that council priorities were discussed with our Director of Emergency Management in the Emergency Advisory Committee meeting that was held on September 23rd. We've had a couple of conversations about our Fin 7 policy that will be back in front of council based on the conversations we had recently. And also in our council package today, at the request of council, we have drafted a resolution for RMA with respect to food banks. And we've also sent out to council, based on their request, the legalities regarding outhouses in the county.
Motion to accept the follow-up action list for information. Anthony?
I move to accept the follow-up action list for information.
Discussion. All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Anything else on the CAO report? Or?
Sharif, nothing else?
Okay, thank you. So 10:30 is canceled. We go to fire services. Tom, you're up.
Good morning, Mr. Reeve, Council.
Morning.
So I'm here to present a couple of reports this morning. The first one is in regards to fire ban restrictions and how those are implemented. So over the course of the spring and summer, we've had questions from the public in regards to how we implement fire bans or fire restrictions or just put on advisories. So I thought it would be pertinent to come to council today to explain to council how that is all done. So we use a scientific process that involves a lot of mathematics. And we use what is called the Fire Weather Index rating system. It is a series of 7 calculations that are put together to create a chart, which ultimately again gets put onto a map. So the index is a system that we are fortunate because we have Alberta forestry that thrives in our in our county. We have two divisions of it. We have one in Rocky Mountain House as well as one in Edson, and they do a lot of these calculations for us. So we just take their data and then we implement our bands and whatnot. So observations are based primarily on weather reports such as temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, as well as rainfall over a 24-hour period. It is not decided on a one-day calculation. It is calculated over several days. So the first one that we look at is the fine fuel moisture code. And this again is a numeric rating that calculates the moisture content in cured fine fuels such as grasses. And from that we get a calculation. If the moisture content has a rating of 80 or higher, it will support free burning of the grass. If it is 90 or higher, there is a high probability that the ignition will lead to spot fires. So that is the first calculation that we use. The second calculation is the Duff moisture content, and this is the rating of the moisture content in the loosely compacted topsoil or top layer of the ground. And it gives an indication of how quickly the fuel in this layer, such as the dead decaying leaves and woody material, will be consumed by fire if it's lit on fire. Anything over a rating of 20 would support ignition if it was ignited. The third one is the drought code. The drought code is again another calculation on the average amount of moisture that is deep inside the ground. This will determine how deep a fire will burn, which is important to us because this will give us an idea if the root system in trees will burn. And if the root system burns, then the trees can fall over and be a threat to firefighters that are working in the bush. It's a pretty good indicator of all the root system and the large timber in the forest floor burning. A rating of 15 will generally indicate that the moisture there's a lot of moisture in the ground and the root system is saturated. However, a rating of 500 will support a significant fire activity and will make mop-up very difficult. The next calculation is the initial spread index. This again is another numeric calculation, and it is based on the rate and speed of fire spread if it's ignited. It's based primarily on wind speed as well as the fine fuel moisture content. They don't take into consideration the other fuels that are possible to burn. They use fine fuel because fine fuel can ignite relatively easy, so that's why they use that one. A rating of 10 or higher will result in a fire spreading quickly through the fine fuels and provide an opportunity for trees to begin crowning. The fifth one in the calculation is the buildup index. And the buildup index is based on the Duff moisture code and the drought code. So they take those numbers and they do some math and calculate this rating. This rating will provide insight into how fast a fire will consume the fuel if it is burning, how intense the fire will be, and how difficult it's going to be to extinguish it and put it out. A rating of 60 or higher in this category is a concern during firefighting operations. Number 6 is the fire weather index. And this is generally the one that you will hear on the news a lot when the media talks about fire conditions. Fire weather index, it's another rating, numeric rating, and it refers to the intensity that the fire will burn. It's based on the initial spread index plus the building index. A high build-up index and a low initial spread index rating will give the same rating if these two indicators are reversed. So for example, if you have a high build-up index rating and a low initial spread, it will indicate that the fuel is very dry, but because there's no wind, it won't go anywhere, so it'll stay in the same area. However, you can also have the opposite effect. If you have a low build-up rating and a high initial spread, if the wind is very high but the fuel is really moist, again, you won't see the fire spread. If both of those are high, then you have a problem. The last one is calculated if there is a fire, and this is the head fire intensity. It measures the amount of energy released and the flame lengths to determine the fire intensity. It's a rating from 1 to 6, with 1 being low and 6 being extremely high. Anything over a ranking of 4 will require air operations. Anything at a 6 means that the fire is literally impossible to put out. So just to put that in perspective for council, during our incident, all of these were at extreme levels. Our head fire intensity was at a 6. It was calculated at a 6, and all of the other ones were extremely high. So if you look at the chart, they break the chart down into colors, blue being the lowest, and then pink being the highest. And from that chart that they create, they then provide us with a report, and you can see just below the chart there's a report that we generally get. We get these on a daily basis, and it will determine temperature, as well as it will also determine what our fire weather index rating is at. From all of that, the province then creates a map, and then the map is a nicely colored map. You'll see it in your report. And just as an example, if you look at the Drayton Valley, Brazeau County area, you can see in this example that our area at the time was red. So at that point in time, if we saw that over a few days, we would put a fire restriction on, because that means that the fire hazard in our area is high to very high. We look at this information daily, and it's based on weather trends, and we from that point then we implement our fire restrictions as appropriate. And that's that report. If council has any questions.
Now, is that all your reports? Because you got like 4 in here.
I got 3.
3, okay.
Yeah, that's the first one. I was
Okay, let's just carry on with all of them. Go ahead, Anthony.
When you do your, how you adjust your, when you put the fire bans on, your ratings and that, do you consider that the green area, which is the area that you're getting your expertise from, what you just said from Rocky Mountain House and the like, has a different rainfall amount and probably is wetter than what generally perhaps the east end is, and so therefore conditions in the east end may be significantly different than the west end? Because even with crop insurance, when we had the last discussions at Ag Service Board, we found that they were using indicators and monitors that seemed to suggest there was more moisture, and their monitors were largely reflective of the green area. And when we looked at their monitors that were in Parkland County, Leduc County, Wetaskiwin County, which are equivalent to our east side, we found that they were showing drier. So there's further evidence with the federal monitoring systems. So I guess I'm just asking you how you consider that.
Yeah, we also look at that as well. We do recognize that there are different weather patterns in the area on the east side of the river versus on this side of the river. It can be drier or it can be wetter, so we do base our calculations on that as well. This is just gives us the mathematical base for the ratings for the most part, but we do look at that, and we do have a weather device out at Station 2 that we continually monitor the weathers daily to give us part of the calculations for this.
So does, how do I put that? Would you necessarily have two different ratings for the county then?
Generally, we try not to, because that would be very confusing for the public. So we tend to be more cautious and go with the one that is higher rating.
Okay, because I know I get different times calls from individuals that are concerned that it's pretty dry and we still haven't got our restrictions on.
Yeah, correct. I understand that. Again, we don't look at day by day. We do look at that, but then we look at trends, what the weather has been doing, what the weather is going to do. We also look at those as well when we make the decision.
Yeah, I agree with Anthony. Like, our county has several different, probably 4 different sets of weather going on at any given time. How do existing fires play a part in this? Like, if you have to deal with 3 grass fires in a day or 2 the next, do you guys actually go, okay, we gotta do something with this fire ban right away, or is it just strictly off of your matrix, off of that math?
Those also play a factor as well. If we are seeing an increase in fire activity, that will cause us pause and look at our ratings for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. So then the next report is the fire deployment funds. We're asking that council moves to direct administration to establish a restricted reserve account that will be used for the purchase of equipment and fire apparatus that can be used on fire deployments from the revenue that is received after expenses. So, as council is aware, the fire service in the last couple of years has been requested by the province to assist other municipalities in helping with wildland fires in their wildland fire situations. We've been deployed into the Northwest Territories as well as Northern Alberta this past summer. With the continued deployments, the wear and tear on our personal protective equipment as well as on our apparatus can take its toll and result in the need to replace this equipment sooner than it's anticipated. So consequently, having a reserve fund for this purpose would be beneficial to offset the costs of these pieces of equipment in the future. The creation of a restricted reserve account will enable the department to purchase personal protective equipment and fire apparatus to be used during wildland fire situations both locally as well as in other municipalities. Some advantages for this is the money received for the deployments will sustain the deployment program and provide us with the equipment that is needed. Unfortunately, dealing with the province of Alberta, it takes a while for those funds to be received. We do receive them, it just takes a little bit of time for that to happen. During times of a deployment, it's important for us to manage our resources so that we are not left short-handed if we have our own situations. So we take great care in assessing our local situation prior to any deployment. So the funds that we receive come in two separate invoices. First one is the firefighter wages, salaries and wages, and they are based on the WUI program, the Wildland Urban Interface rates. And as I have indicated those for you. So firefighters are $50 an hour, then bosses are $55, and then leaders $65. So working with the finance teams, there are some costs. Anytime you pay for wages, there are some administrative costs and some other costs that have to be taken into consideration. So by going through all that process, we determine roughly about $8 from the base hourly page covers those types of things. And then from that, whatever is left over would be going into the restricted reserve account. The other portion that the municipalities receive is the cost for the vehicle. And depending on what type of vehicles we deploy, will give us the hourly rate, and I've indicated those for council for you to see as well. We also now have a structural protection trailer, so we can deploy that to any incident if required. Once the expenses have been paid, any funds remaining would be allocated to the restricted reserve account for the purchase of equipment or fire apparatus for the future. It is important to recognize that these prices may change in future years as we are deployed. This is a town shared thing between the town and the county, so both would receive the money. Any questions with that?
And this is, I don't know if Colin might have to answer it, or if you can, Tom, but when we currently buy the air packs in the past while, have those monies been coming out of the fire reserve that we currently have in place, or does that come from, let's say, general revenue or some source like that? Like, how are we paying for the air packs when we have been doing them in the last while?
So through the chair to Council Heinrich, we are using the fire restricted reserve to purchase that. And so those air packs, yeah, that's a reoccurring item we see through our capital budget there. But all fire related items are being currently purchased through the fire restricted reserve.
So then, this reserve that Tom is proposing, why wouldn't we just put our portion of the funds into our fire reserve? Because it would be, as I'm understanding you just answering, Colin, where we're taking our money for these devices that they would be using. And once their wear and tear is utilized on them and they need to be replaced, that would be the natural fund instead of setting up another fund, reserve?
Yeah, through the chair, Councillor Heinrich, and not to, and Tom can kind of confirm or elaborate more on this one. My, kind of the way I read it is they're kind of looking to separate this on the outward deployment and kind of separate it from the day-to-day fire activities that we use the current restricted reserve for, and put this one more towards a separate fund that's used, as highlighted in the report, since there is, you know, we're speeding up that, the wear and tear on everything, by having that all kind of facilitated through that fund and more earmarked specifically for some of those activities. Tom, does that sound about right?
That's correct. My intent to this is to make it clear to council what the funds are going to be used for. These are strictly for wildland fire operations. And then I said we can use this equipment locally, or we can use it on deployments as well. I just wanted to make it clear so that council is aware when we are spending money out of that account, and council is aware that it's for wildland fire operations. So I just wanted to create that separation so council is up to date and aware of what we're spending. So that's why we did it. Could it be done the other way? It could. It just makes it a little more difficult now for council to separate what was used for wildland fire operations and what's used for general fire operations.
With the monies that you'd be getting, then would that be two accounts then, one for us and one for Brazeau, or Great Valley, I mean, so that if you're getting, say, $10,000, $5,000 to each reserve?
Correct.
Well, then I really, and I think that's the right way in the sense of splitting it, so it's 5 and 5 into each. And then I really think rather than another reserve, since our monies are coming out of the fire reserve anyway, it just makes it cleaner, and you can tell us when you're putting it in. We know how much is going in. You can tell us when you're taking it out, why you're taking it out. I don't think we need another reserve. We've had that discussion before where we've had to minimize the number of reserves. I think this is another case of that.
You know, Anthony and I don't agree much, but I agree with Anthony 100%. Keep it clean and simple with one reserve. And you've also seen from council that when we have a wreck, the bank is open. The blank check is written, and we do whatever we have to protect our families, our homes, and our properties. So you've got the backing there already, that we're not going to say no if there's somebody's house burning down, or there's a forest fire next to Anthony's house. He killed all the trees, so it doesn't matter if they're there, but but you got the point. Donna?
I disagree with you both. I think this is a really good accounting of how many hours are spent fighting wildfire somewhere else, other than in our community. I think it would be really interesting to see how,
They can still track that, Donna. This is just setting up a separate reserve account. As far as the tracking, that can go on anyway.
it can go on for us, but the average Joe, if they're looking through our pie-shaped, whatever that's called, can't remember.
You can still break that out in the pie chart. You can have pink and red
Do
together.
do we break it out, wildfire and,
Normally,
No.
No, but you
No.
can.
You
Just like they
can.
can here, you're setting up this account, you can do it in the reporting section as well. This is just really just setting up a separate reserve account.
yeah. I get
So
it.
that parks a lot of money sitting there that may not be used and may be necessary for other things. If you have a wreck, you can draw in other areas from our general revenue, if you need money. But every time we have a wreck, we don't park a reserve.
No.
So why would we do it here? Anyway, carry on with your thoughts. And then we got Glenn.
So with this new reserve, it just it would keep you from having to come to council for new equipment and stuff like that. So you'd have a separate account that if you needed to purchase hoses or trucks or whatever, you could just go ahead and get that without having to come to council. Is that my understanding of
Correct.
this?
Any large ticket items, for example, if we were purchasing a truck or something like that, then obviously we'd be coming to council for a request such as that. But things like hose, not bunker gear, but wildland fire gear, helmets, boots, all of that kind of stuff would be used, or the money would come from this account to cover those costs.
I think I understand because the situation is changing with these wildfires, and this is a way to address some of these issues that you're dealing with, obviously, is trying to get equipment, because I could imagine if you go to do a wildfire, you're going to lose parts and pieces, and you're also going to have pieces damaged, and you got to be able to react to that quickly rather than the bureaucracy of coming to council for every little thing, right? So with that, I would like to make this motion.
Well, just see if there's any other
You can
comments
discuss
there.
afterwards, no? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Tom just said that monies don't come very quickly from the province. And if we did lose fire hoses and the like, we'd have to get them right away or fairly quickly, because, you know, you can't be sitting here waiting until money come before you buy the hoses. We already have monies in our budget for the purchase of equipment and the like for general maintenance. If they're in this type of a situation, more is lost, then it should be appropriate that it comes to council so that council's aware that we had to spend $30,000 or whatever the number is on buying hoses and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So council's aware of it. I don't think that we should be setting this up the way Glenn just kind of alluded to, that it would be amount to a slush fund for yourselves to utilize to purchase things as you see fit. Council should be aware, we are responsible for the dollars that are brought in, whether they're brought in by this department or another department, and they should all be brought through council's awareness, not through having funds set up that literally just can be spent without our understanding or our knowledge, and then we still are accountable for the dollars going out. So I think putting it into existing funds makes it clean, you give your report, and there's no need to have more bureaucracy setting up. We talk about cutting the red tape, this is setting up another layer of red tape. And we're not acting, in my opinion, with when we walk the talk, we're not walking the talk when we start telling us about red tape reduction.
So just for a point of clarity, if I may, so these funds would be used to replace equipment that is damaged or destroyed while on deployments. So for example, wheel chocks, this last deployment, the wheel chocks on the truck were damaged. So that's going to need to be replaced. Now, I could take it out of general funds that's not a problem. But to me, it's more appropriate to take it out of the funds that we are getting from the deployments. So that's just a point of clarity. So this would just deal with equipment that is used for deployments while we're out there.
And I'm once again with Anthony on this, you guys. Like, we don't need to have a separate account. We've got enough money in there to buy those wheel chocks from our existing reserve. What do we got in reserves? We got millions, right?
Yeah, we're, to the Reaver, probably, you know, $13, $14 million
Yeah.
off the top of my head, yeah.
So, like, you don't need to set up another account and block money ahead of time. You deal with those wrecks when you have them. In the meantime, you've already got more than enough money to buy hoses, chocks, whatever it is that you need. It's not like we're gonna be short of funds. It's not like they have to come here and say, hey, council, we need some wheel chocks. You don't bring those little items here. You guys just spend it out of the reserves and the funds that you have budgeted. Setting up another account is just blocking council money ahead of time. And even though we had a big wreck last year, we don't have them every year. So that's why you use the general reserves as a backup for anything that you need. But are we gonna set up a reserve for there, a reserve for agriculture, chemical spraying? We're gonna have a reserve for all of these things? You set up one already, and then you just use that. You don't have to set these blocks of money up that ties up the money for a long run. And we've got more than enough to actually deal with this stuff here. Like, you don't have to panic, you know, on a thing saying, well, what if they wreck a bunch of stuff? Well, then the province is gonna pay for it over time. In the meantime, you pay for it out of general reserves. Donna?
Well, exactly what you were saying, that was my thinking. If it's in a fund for this, they don't have to fight for the rest of the county agriculture and all those other things if they need that money.
They just take it out of their existing reserve, which there's more than enough already there. And they could take the existing reserve and just cut a slice out of it. But don't add another reserve. That's just like the saying, it's just, let's put another reserve in for Ag Service Board, let's put in another reserve for planning, let's put in another reserve for all these other departments. They've got more than enough money already. Just take a piece out of that pie and say, we're going to dedicate this much of the existing reserve for special occasions when we're going out to help people. Worst case scenario, we can't go and help people, but we've always been available to do that. This is just another reserve account being set up by, you know, a department. And you don't need it. Go ahead, Anthony, and then Kara. Kara, you got your light on? Oh. Okay.
Each department may generate income, and various ones of our departments in the county at various times generate income, and most of them don't have their own reserves unless we have some purpose that really we're trying to accomplish with that reserve that's separate from our common goal. This, I think, is, I don't want to keep repeating it, but I don't believe at all we need to set this up, just put our share of the funds into our existing fire reserve.
Kara?
Thank you. I'm of the opinion it's good accounting practice and accountability, so I'm fine with it.
Okay. What's that? Oh, Rudy, sorry, I didn't see your light there, Rudy.
Thank you, Reeve. To council, just from an operational standpoint, I mean, while county has one bank account, we have several general ledgers that help us account for funds coming from here and going to there and how they're utilized from a business practice standpoint. I think where this comes from, unfortunately, to Councillor Gunderson's point, this is a growing activity, and these wildfire deployments are growing. The funds are moved to deployment. Revenues are generated from deployment. Revenues come from the province, not necessarily in a timely fashion. This is an opportunity to monitor this activity a little bit more closely from a financial perspective, and direct those funds specifically to these activities, because unfortunately, it is a growing activity.
Glenn and then Anthony?
So my question be, so what sort of bureaucracy do you got to deal with? Like, you send a truck out to help somebody with a wildfire, and you end up with a cracked frame on the truck and $100,000. Do you got to come? You know, how do you deal with that? Do you got to come to council to get that fixed, or these reserves that the Reva's spoken of? Do you just have access to those millions of dollars that we're going to fix this now, or how does that work?
A lot of that would be based on how much it's going to be to repair it or to fix it. First step would go to Colin, our financial officer, have a conversation with him, and at that point, then it would be determined whether it would come to council or not. If it was a large-scale thing like that, then it would definitely have to come to council.
So what do you think wouldn't have to come to council, I guess? What would be your limit? What are you looking at? Like, so if you lose two air packs and you're down $4,000, you don't want to bother. You haven't budgeted for that. That was just lost during that event, and now you need two more to get back up to where you were at. So would that be something you considered didn't really need to be, that fund could be used for?
It would be based on the thresholds at council, or that have already been put into place. I'm not sure what those are.
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, it would be set up, right now, anything outside of the approved operating aside capital comes to council, requires a council motion. So that's the way everything's set up at this point in time. I know we've had ones in the past dealing with some slide repairs and stuff where obviously time of the essence, fix now, come to council as soon as possible, let council know of the expenditure incurred during that. If it was looked to set up somewhere where there was a threshold, similar to Councillor Gunderson mentioned, that would be something through our FIN 4 restricted reserve policy. We could outline any stipulations regarding it. So it could be that all expenditure, if it's an emergency one like that, we can, go through the quotes and make sure it's all good to go and get it fixed and come back to council with a report to authorize that, or have it that everything still needs to come through council to have approved, since it is falling outside of those approved budgeted funds for that current year. So the sensitivity of the subject, the topic of a truck maybe be a little more escalated, but for hoses and things like that as well too, it also could just be put that, a report to come to council, let them know the situation, and that we'll be looking to purchase X amount of new hoses to replace the ones that were damaged.
No different than in the fire wreck. We deployed millions of dollars, hoses, sprinklers, all kinds of things that went on. If you're in a wreck, we have the money. And so you don't plan for a wreck every year, so you just rely on your bigger reserves to look after the irregularities that happen from time to time on whatever it is. Anthony?
And at least the way I understand it, our municipal services requirements are that we put things through our budgeting process, and as much as possible that we try to plan for future costs. When you get things like Colin alluded to the slide, that's out of the normal. And so when it's out of the normal, that's why we go ahead, because it's considered an emergency. Likewise, if the fire burned, when they were fighting a fire and it burned up significant hose and whatnot, and they needed it, it would be considered likewise to that road slide, that it would be considered an emergency. They'd go ahead and replace it, come to council and get the approvals. But there should not be a fund sitting there that staff can have access to without accountability through council. We are supposed to have, even any reserves we have, are supposed to be accountable to council. And the way Glenn had talked earlier, where they could utilize this fund, or Rudy had maybe seemed to give me the impression that they could just utilize these funds, to me, that's not bringing the accountability back to council and allowing for council to be aware, have their awareness. These funds, the way they're set up now, with the current one that we have in place, provides for that opportunity for council's awareness and funding and budgeting to have the awareness. When there's emergencies, just like the road slide, Colin already explained how that can be done. Likewise for this truck. Why change something that isn't broke? Especially when we're supposed to be responsible as a council. And that's not our particular choice, it's a mandate of the province.
Anybody else? Rudy and then Colin?
Just a question to, and this is not necessarily impactful of council's decision, but just a question of clarification through you to Chief Thompson regarding the WUI funding. The rates that are set, are they charged immediately at the time of deployment, or does the clock start at actioning of our troops?
It would be at, once we get on scene.
Okay.
Once we are on scene.
Colin, you got any final comments?
Yeah, no, and I guess just to clarify for council, exactly that, after the fire services is deployed out there, on the Brazeau County side of things, I will receive all the information, the timesheets, what equipment's out. We'll have it all based on the days by the hours, and then we put together an invoice, and then we'll send to the municipality that's impacted, and they'll be handling their own grant application to the province, similar to I did on this side. So that's a bit of just the timing to come back to our side can take a little bit. Just to clarify on just kind of the reserve, as Councillor Heinrich mentioned, it can be all handled within that reserve, and as the Reeve mentions as well, with some tracking. I think just to kind of spell out the true intent of it, just as we look at some of these deployments as a revenue generating stream, and so some of that is just, and that's where just the splitting of the two accounts, and that account would have, expenses taken away, revenue sitting in there, and then you're kind of seeing what revenue you are generating, which would be used to offset future purchases. So that's more the intent of that second reserve, but it can be accommodated within the original one as well, so it is just council's wishes and how they'd like to do that.
Anthony?
I want to make a motion if that's okay.
Sure. If nobody else, Cody, go ahead. That's why I said if nobody else has anything to say, go ahead, Cody.
I have one thing to say. I move to direct administration to establish a restricted reserve account that will be used for the purchase of equipment
I'm
and
not going
fire
to allow you to
apparatus.
do that to Cody. That's playing dirty pool here. One guy was saying he was going to make a motion. All right, and then to jump in, I thought you were talking about discussion.
He was going to make the motion. Now what's dirty pool?
I can ask Anthony if he wants to remove his thoughts there and let somebody else make a motion. Well, and the thing is, this is like a pre-budget discussion going on here, folks. People trying to allocate money ahead of time, prior to the budget. The budget's coming up here in 2 months. And so we shouldn't be pre-budgeting money for next year when we haven't even had our budget discussions. So more discussion. You guys both want to make your motion still? Anybody got a coin? Nobody wants to relieve their ability? Well, then I'll go to Glenn.
So yeah, I know how quickly things get done. We take big holidays where the fire chief or Colin can't get a hold of us, in the summertime. So right here it says, during times of a deployment, it's important to ensure that the department isn't left with a shortage of resources, including personnel and equipment. Consequently, great care is taken to access our local situation prior to any deployment. So they won't be able to deploy. If they come in from a wreck out by Parkland or Jasper, and they come back and they haven't got a hose left, and we're all on holidays, we're out at FMC or something else, yeah, it just takes time. So they're just asking to have something where they can quickly get something. So I move that council
Just wait, we got Anthony now that wants to discuss. So I always ask for discussion. Go ahead, Anthony.
That's no different than the road. We all can be on holiday too, and not available necessarily to AMRO to be able to get our approvals for constructing the road. Yet when the road is washed out, AMRO doesn't sit there and leave the road washed out until we come back or available. He gets out there and he starts doing the road. So the funding is in place. We got a stream of responsibility where council is supposed to be responsible by municipal affairs mandate for monies being spent. We are not supposed to be setting up funds that are literally a slush fund, an unbudgeted slush fund for administration.
My only comment is, This is a budget discussion, you guys. This is coming ahead of the program, and if we start this practice, when do we start budgeting? Do we start when we actually set aside time for budgeting, or do we just do it any time during the year? This is an inappropriate way of creating a fund setup that should be done during the budget process, if that's what you want. Then you see the total picture of the county. Then you know where all the different funds are going to, not 3 months before the budget process or 2 months. Inappropriate time. Go ahead, Glenn.
It's impossible to budget for wildfires. We can't foresee. So I move the council directs administration to establish a restricted reserve account that will be used for the purchase of equipment and fire apparatus that can be used on fire deployments from the revenue that is received after expenses.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Anthony.
I move to table this motion to budget discussion.
No discussion on a tabling motion. All those in favor? Okay, so it's tabled. Opposed? Donna, Kara, and Cody. All right, let's take a 5-minute break.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve, Council. So the next one I would like to present to Council is the Fire Incident Management and Emergency Notification System. And I am asking that Council approves using some of the funds from our AFRAX project for the purchase and implementation of the first due system. So to continue with the efficient operations of the fire service, the department is looking to invest in a new incident management and member notification system. Our current system that we have was purchased in 2005, and although we've had updates in the system, it's just not meeting our needs, and we continually have constant problems with it. It is housed on the town's server, which makes access from Station 2 in Breton and Station 1 Lodgepole impossible. So we primarily have to do things twice. We create the reports at Station 1 or Station 2, and then we send it into Station 3 where it gets retyped into the system. So it is very inefficient, and it causes a lot of duplication of work. Another problem with the system is if you try to search for an address for a report, for example, so if we had a fire at a particular property and the insurance company is requesting our report, if you do not type in the exact address that it was originally put into the system, then it will not find it. So then you have to go through incident by incident to try and find it, which again creates a lot of inefficiencies in time. As well, the tech support for our current system is just not up to snuff. A couple weeks ago, we had an issue with the system where the system went down. It took us over a week to make contact with the company to try and get the issue resolved, which resulted in us not being able to use the system. We also currently use another system, which is a phone notification system, which provides notification to members that there is a call, so it'll basically pop up on your phone. This system does not work with our other management system, so we are basically trying to manage two systems at the same time. We also have an archaic pager system, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that again causes us problems, and that's a third system that we use. So as a result of all of these issues and problems, the fire department began to look at different systems that would work for us. We engaged in 3 different companies that sell these types of systems, and we found one that would meet all of our needs. It's called the First Due system. It will work for us because there's lots of benefits. It's an incident automated data entry system which will integrate our dispatch information directly into the incident report. So we don't have to take time to type in the information into the report. It will take the CAD system that we receive from our dispatch and automatically implement it into the report. So a lot of the information is already inputted. It will also allow us improvements in our mapping and navigation system. It will automatically provide routing directions to incident locations without manually entering the address into a mapping program, which is what we currently do. So when a call comes in, we will have to we take that address and then we manually implement it into our mapping program. With this system, it will automatically do that for us, and we will be able to manipulate it and put in planned routes to different locations. So as I was mentioning with Councillor Heinrich, there are places in the county where if you just use Google Maps, you won't be able to get to that location. You have to specifically go a specific route, so it will allow us the ability to do that. It will also provide us with an incident management command system, which will allow us the ability to provide better accountability for our personnel during incidents. Currently, right now, we use a pen and paper system. This will allow us to use an integrated management system. The paging alert system will also be included in this program. And it will automatically send notifications of the call to the member's phone, similar to what we have now. However, it will also provide timely updates. So as the member is responding to the call, it will push out messages on updating the incident as to what is actually happening, which is very beneficial information when the membership is responding to the call. It will also allow pre-incident planning that we do to be implemented into the system. So if we have a particular facility or a particular business that we have done an inspection on, it will automatically pop that information up for us, so we know where the gas shutoffs are, so we know where the hydrant connections are, so we know where all of the vital important information we need when we respond to that particular location. As well, it will also provide better data and analytics for me and for my staff to be able to pull information off of the system to provide to council or to the public. So moving to the first due system will improve efficiencies within the department and improve our ability to proper manage the department. So just moving to the financial part of it. We were fortunate enough to apply for and received permission to get on the federal government National Standing Offer Program, which allowed us the ability to purchase our base stations and radios for a fraction of the cost that they would normally be purchased at. Consequently, we're going to be able to have some significant savings in the AFRAX program. Council will see that once we get to the 2026 year-end budget, and we'll be able to present those savings to council. However, we would like to move forward with this system, which is part of our communication system. It's just a little bit of a fragmentation of it. So in 2024, we've already moved forward with purchasing the AFRAX radios and base stations for all 3 stations. That has already been allotted in the radio project program. We're hoping to use $4,000 from those funds and begin the process of transitioning from our old management system to the new first due system. This will allow us the ability to begin using the new system at the beginning of 2025 or near the beginning. If we wait and we do this program in 2025, we're not going to be able to get this program up and running till at least June or July of 2025. So by allowing us to move forward now, it will get us further ahead so that when we get into 2025, we can begin using the system right away. In 2025, this is a bit of a transition year in which we will incur some duplicate costs from the old system. But in 2024, or sorry, like we would in 2024, but we will be moving forward with the additional AFRAX radios that we need to purchase. And we will also be paying for the new system. The plan is to use $18,100, which is the cost of the first due system from the AFRAX program to cover the cost for the overlap while still funding the old system until we can transition over. In 2026, we will be fully transitioned over, and then we will no longer require any of the funds. In breaking it down, you can kind of see the savings that will result from going from our old system into the new system. The old system costs us approximately $49,997, whereas moving to the new system, it will cost us roughly $22,600. Those costs are cost shared with the town, so in essence, the county's portion for the old system is around $25,000. Moving to the new system, it will drop to $11,000. So there is some significant savings there.
So just in line with the previous discussion, do you have enough money in your budget to cover it right now, and then that can be shored up at the budget discussions?
Not in my current operating budget, no,
Yes.
but in the AFRAX program, yes.
Okay. So there's funding there that'll allow you to move forward, and then any other fundings that may be required can be discussed during budget time.
Correct.
So it was already budgeted last year, okay.
Correct. It's already in the budget, yes.
All right.
The AFRAX system has already been budgeted, correct.
Okay. Anthony?
Yeah, and the reason that there's those monies available in AFRAX is because, if I understood you correctly, you got a good deal or a better price through the federal dollars anyway, that we were able to get the equipment for less money, less county and town money.
Correct.
Okay, see, and I think that's this is an illustration of how council then can just still be aware of what you're purchasing or able to purchase, and we're able to put in a new system, yet with existing funds that have already been budgeted. But council is being made aware of it. Likewise, I think for the other facilities that we were talking about earlier, the same applies there, that we should be made aware, and it would be if we went with one reserve fund. Anyway.
Donna, did you have some discussion? No. Go ahead, Anthony.
I move that council approves using some of the funds from the AFRAX project for the purchase and implementation of the first due system.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Boy, you put a fire under us there, Tom.
Sorry, I was just trying to make things more transparent, but I guess
Yes,
I
thank
made
you.
it worse.
Yeah. Yes, Anthony.
In that motion, there was no money amount indicated. Probably we should have amount 2 indicated, that's as it shows on page 45, that it's 18,000.
Or is it 22,000?
What was the number, Tom?
It would be 4,000 for 2024, and then then 18,100 for 2025.
So maybe if, Bart, if it's, or procedurally, I don't know how to go about it.
Just add
but-
another motion.
Okay, now add another
Yeah.
motion? Okay, Tom, help me again with the numbers. I'm trying to
So-
make sure I say it correctly.
Sure, for 2024, it's 4,000, and then 2025, it would be 18,100.
So 4,000 for this year, and 25, it's 18,100?
Correct.
Okay. So with that, Bart, I'll follow up with a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll move to further support the last motion by indicating the amount of dollars that would be spent from AFRAX, and that would be in 2024, $4,000 will be coming out of AFRAX monies, and in 2025, it's scheduled for $18,100 to be coming from there.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Okay, no ag services report. Fin 7, Lee?
Morning, Reeve and Council. So page 47, Community Organization Funding Policy, Fin 7 Amendments. During the July 2nd, 2024 regular meeting of Council, the following motion was made. Moved by Anthony Heinrich to direct administration to direct amendments to Fin 7 policy as discussed and bring back to council for final approval. So, as council is aware, halls in rural areas are increasingly being less utilized. Prior to 2015, there were 12 halls operated by community groups. Presently, there are nine now in operation. Rocky Rapids, the hall isn't in operation. We just have the actual skating rink, and the board is still operating. You also recall that Easyfoot Hall was transferred to county in 2017. Administration has been engaged in a contract to manage the operations. It was until October 31st, 2024, and then now we have that extended for a further 4 years under contract. Additionally, Whitby Hall and Conwood Hall have previously expressed concerns regarding sustainability. I actually am pleased to say that Whitby Hall has a new board, so they're up and looking to resurrect and be in full operation again. And Conwood Hall, they were looking to, close their hall, but they've been a new board there. They've got a number of new, I believe it's the, not the, gone blank on the school, homeschooler group and an ag group, 4-H, yes, so both of them. So, previous discussions with all operators noted that the difficulty they experience is with attraction and retention of membership and the time requirements to manage bookings. Administration has amended the Fin 7 policy to include a sustainability grant, which would match revenue generated by the halls through rentals and any programming and services, effective January 2025. The hope is that the added category of funding could be used to ease the burden of their volunteers' membership through the hiring of janitors and booking management. So the changes include general clarifications on existing clauses, establishing maximums on operating expenses and categories, and the addition of a sustainability funding category, including provisions to require the community group amend their bylaws or enter into an agreement with the county to transfer ownership of all the property in Chatel should the organization fold. And there's also a limit on the allowable reserves on savings. So if you turn to the next page, 49, but specifically page 54 of the Fin 7, the Fin 7 has all the highlighted in red, but on page 54, this is the new addition, Community Hall Sustainability Funding Policy. Brazeau County will match revenues generated through all hall activities such as rentals, programming, or service delivery up to a maximum of $18,000. Revenue generated from grant funding or donations are exempt from this program. Revenues will be calculated based on the prior year's financial statements as provided, and the following conditions apply. Of course, the adherence to 8 common guidelines above. The organization is in active and good standing. Organization has amended their bylaws or entered into an agreement with Brazeau County to include parameters should the organization fold and have property and chattels remaining with their ownership. Such parameters must include ownership transfer to Brazeau County. Revenue is generated through regular hall bookings and the provision of programs and services to the community. The organization does not have cash reserves or similar accounts exceeding $50,000 unless a capital replacement or asset management plan exists. Such a plan, should such a plan exist, a copy shall be provided to the county. And the community halls eligible for the funding components are Barrymore, Buck Creek, Conwood, Fennell, Lindale, Lodgepole, Violet Grove, and Whitby. So just looking for council to approve the Fin 7 as presented with the effective, and this would be effective January 1st, 2025.
Any questions, councillors? If not, let's have a motion. Anthony?
Just one question, so if any of the community hall, like Easyford, were to become community functional again, it would be also eligible to this and would be back on that list of where, the last list you just read?
Yes, Easyford is not part of this Fin 7, but we have a separate agreement with them, with provisions in there for them.
But if they became community oriented similar to the rest, they would go back on this list.
I would bring it back, yes. If we have a
Okay.
change, I could bring it back, yes.
Okay. With that, Bart, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead,
sorry.
Donna.
So this is just operating, right?
Yes, it's their operating revenues, right? And it can't be through grants, it has to be rental or programming.
So if a furnace went down, and the community association couldn't repair that with their own money, and it would cost way more than $18,000, what happens?
We do have a capital, let me just find the page there. It's already in there.
Oh, okay.
If you
found it.
turn to page 55, we have the Community Hall Capital Funding Policy. And so it outlines it there. Up to $10,000, we can match it, and administration can do that without even bringing it to council. But if it goes beyond that, then we bring it to council. But it's usually based on a matching, but
Okay, thank you.
Who's going to make a motion? Anthony?
I move that council approve the community organization funding policy FIN 7 as presented and effective January 1st, 2025.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Okay, food bank resolution.
page 65. During the September 17th, 2024 regular meeting of council, the following motion was made. Moved by Dallas Ekstrom to direct administration to draft a resolution for RMA regarding the food bank's request for exemption for the October 1st, 2024 meeting. So administration has reviewed the details provided by the Faith Covenant Church Food Bank and prepared a draft resolution for council's review and consideration. So that's attachment 1 on page 67. Should council approve, the resolution will be sent for inclusion at the next Pembina Zone meeting. So I'm not going to read, but you've got all the facts and the rationale for the resolution on there.
So just some of these small ones just can't afford to meet the standards. Really, it's just a shelf on the side of the road. What's that? You know, like the one at the, well, it was like that at the Legion. You know, you just have a bank of shelves and stuff, and people put food in, and people take food out, but they can't meet the standards. What's that? Oh, there's food there, and it's a bank of shelves, so I called it a food bank. Explain a little more. I read the resolution and the whereases. So what do they mean by small that can't meet the standards? Go ahead, Dallas.
Well, Breton, for example, is just a small community food bank. In comparison to Edmonton or the large centers, it's tiny, it's minuscule. So in order for them to meet the regulation is onerous and taxing, and it's just so top-heavy that it can't possibly work. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, Anthony, you got something to add?
And some of the bigger food banks, like Dallas just mentioned, Edmonton, they usually have an executive director or paid administrative staff of one form or another, where these smaller ones are all volunteers. And many times they're also, at least in the Breton case, quite advanced in, let's say, their ages, so they're not as technologically savvy. So some of this filling out of forms is more difficult for some of those individuals compared to the bigger centers where we have more resources at their disposal.
I think the precedent is set as far as Indigenous communities and northern food banks are exempt from these standards.
Great, so you've got those two examples to validate why smaller ones.
Yeah, it's in there, like the 1, 2, 3, 5th point down.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Dallas.
Thank you, Lee. It's a good resolution. So I'll move that Brazeau County Council approve and direct administration to submit to the rural municipalities of Alberta the resolution resolution as attached for inclusion at the next Pembina zone meeting.
Discussion? All those in favor? Well, we're not done. We've got some things to come in here. General matters. Was that just me? Yes. Oh. So I did. Anyway, last night was quite a success. Had a good chat with a lot of different folks, including William. Is his first name William Littlechild? We were fortunate to have him and the other fellow from Ottawa, come to Drayton Valley. It's kind of a first that the two of them were together at the same venue. But throughout the night, they had great entertainment, like really great entertainment. Their fiddle player and people dancing, and the speeches were well done. In discussion with some people, they were telling me, including Littlechild, that in 2026 it's the Métis 150-year anniversary, and so we were talking about maybe we could help working with the Ochis and other members, including Littlechild, to create a celebration for the Métis, and we could help do that and create it. So Littlechild thought it would be a great idea to create a celebration here with us in Drayton Valley, the Sunchild and the Ochis, and have these people there. I got the musician's card as well, and I thought it would take quite a while to set something like that up, but if we get the ball in motion, we could get it going, and it'd show a great relationship between us and the Indigenous people of setting up a celebration for them. And so we're talking beyond this mandate of council, right? We're talking 2026, but it would take that to just starting having the conversations with Littlechild, with the Ochis, and with any of the others, and we could have quite an event here in Brazeau County. So I wanted to put it on the table and get the ball rolling, that we look to creating a special celebration for the Métis people, the 150-year anniversary, and we start working to try to get this organized. So I'd appreciate it if somebody would put a motion forward. I mean, I can do it, but I'd appreciate if somebody put a motion forward that we look at trying to set up a celebration, working with the entities that I talked about, and maybe more to do it. Everybody that I talked to there thought it'd be a great idea and a great relationship building. It's not just the celebration in 2026, but the path getting there would be helping to build a relationship as well. So really, it's just to start the process of looking at creating an opportunity for celebration. We can contact the town of Drayton Valley and see if they want to be part of it. And then we start contacting these other folks. Littlechild also told me that there was something in connection with the celebration, and it was the 10-year Buffalo reunion. I don't know what that meant, but it'd be nice to know what he meant by that. Because the buffalo, it was the buffalo that saved both the Indigenous people and the development across this country. It wasn't the turkey, so it really should be the Thanksgiving buffalo, because that's what really actually fed everybody. The turkey was just something that was set up on the east coast of the States when the Pilgrims, the Plymouths, all settled in there, and there was lots of turkeys. But really, it was the buffalo, the 60 million buffalo, that fed the armies, fed the train, fed the Indigenous people. So anyway, when I thought about it, I thought it was great, and everybody I talked to thought it was great. So I think it could be a huge success for the relationships between now and then. Whether any of us are around then or not is a different story, but we'd get the ball rolling. Donna and then Glenn,
I was gonna make a motion, but Is-
okay, just wait then, Glenn?
To make a motion, I'll just comment. Yeah, we've been looking for a long time to try to make some inroads connections with them, and I had talked to somebody who's involved with them, and they said, yes, if by holding these events or participating in their events, that's a big part of reconciliation, so this is a good idea.
What did you think, Kara? Yeah, the dancer and wasn't that fiddler just an amazing musician? So,
Those who organized last night did a fantastic job,
yeah,
amazing job. So, I mean, I believe it was done through FCSS, so, and they did all the coordination and planning for last night, so they should be proud. And those, I'm not sure who sits on that board, but they did a phenomenal job.
yeah, like way, caliber, way
Yeah.
up here. Like
Yeah.
professional stuff. And I gave you that card, didn't I, for the musician there? I did?
Yes.
So in case I lose the card, you'll have him. He could be a functional asset for other events as well. You know, like just like an amazing musician. And then the dancer was something else too. All right, so go ahead then, Donna.
I was just gonna add that, yeah, we could learn a lot from the organizers from last night. Like, if we are challenged in getting different names and whatnot, we could ask them. But I move that we look into, that administration look into hosting 150 Métis celebration in 2026.
In conjunction with their Indigenous partners.
In conjunction with Sunchild, Ochis, any Indigenous partners in Treaty 6 or beyond. Cody has something to say.
Go ahead, Cody.
Just, as far as the motion goes, I think that we should probably start with consulting with the town of Drayton Valley, the Métis and the Métis Association to see if they're interested in something like this, and then maybe go from there.
Well, I'm just going by the
just what I'm-
discussions I had with Little Child, that he thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Yeah, we
sure,
don't want
but
to,
he's
we
not,
don't want to.
he's not part of the
skip.
Métis Nation, is he?
Yes, he's the head chief of the Métis Association.
Of the Métis Association? I don't think that's
There's
accurate.
a few associations.
William Little Child.
Or I'm thinking of the local chapter, maybe.
Oh,
Um,
right,
Whatever,
but-
you got a point. We want to ask them, not tell them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Include,
anyway, so if I were to suggest how the motion would go, it would be to consult with, these groups to see if that's something they're even interested in first, and then I would probably go from there.
okay, a celebration to include our local Métis Association, and of course Drayton Valley. I'm not sure how that's worded now, but just let's have a party.
Well, and Glenn said it may be best, is that it gives us an opportunity to break ground with them. You know, by working with them, you build a relationship, right? Those that work together stay together.
I did find something interesting last night. I can't remember the fellow's name from Ottawa. We had a really good discussion though afterwards. And the Métis has not, like the Indigenous are included in the act, but the Métis aren't. So I totally get why the Métis want their flag out here, because they're not recognized yet.
Yeah, we'd have a whack of flags.
Anyway, that's just
A separate-
sidebar.
yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. What did you capture there, Tina? The decoder.
Moved by Donna Wiltsey to direct administration to start preparations for a 150 Métis celebration in 2026 in conjunction and consultation with the Indigenous Treaty 6 partners, local media organization, and the town of Drayton Valley.
You're amazing.
Wasn't it?
Any other discussion?
you.
All those in favor? Carried unanimous. All right. No correspondence. Councillor reports, they're there before you, as well as everybody stated what they did. Need a motion to approve the reports. When was our meeting with Bob Paul? Yeah. When was our meeting with Bob Paul? Were you here for that, Rudy? I was. Because I see it's on Anthony's timesheet, but nobody else's. Oh, yes, okay. I'm the only one that didn't put it on there. No, mine isn't on there. Oh, is it? Oh, I see, okay. It's the TIAA that confused me. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you can make a motion to add your report. Donna?
I move to ratify my.
She wouldn't have to, she would just add it to her time.
Right, okay.
Just add it to the reports. Just make a motion to add your report, or go ahead, Kara.
Sorry, she'd have to add it to her timesheet for September.
Yeah, she's doing that
Yeah,
as well.
and then it'll just get ratified at the next meeting. She's already ratified to attend. She doesn't need
Okay, I
another
just thought we
motion.
could do it right now by adding her report to the list. All right, it'll just be on your next list there, Donna. Okay, did somebody make a motion? Glenn? On approving the reports as presented?
I have two motions, but yes, I move to approve, accept the reports as presented.
Discussion, all those in favor? Carried unanimous. What's your other motion?
So we missed on the fire chief's update to council on the fire ban restriction process. We didn't accept that for information.
Oh, you mean here today?
Yeah,
Yeah, you should probably,
okay. I move to accept the fire ban restriction process from the fire chief for information.
discussion. Thanks for catching that. All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Are we down to meeting dates? So we've got meeting dates there. There's a fall public open house. Now, the 12th or 13th, I'm clear, I assume, Tina? Okay, so if that's the case, then let's have the 13th. Make it a lucky day. I don't know. You guys decide, make a motion, somebody, whoever. I think here, yeah, bring people in here. It's their building. We have a motion for everything else, I just need a date. Okay, and where were we holding it here? Right, okay. All right, so we just need a motion for the 12th or the 13th, Kara? Pardon
Yes,
me?
it's, the motion's already been,
Just, let's get the date here. We'll talk about.
I move to set the fall public open house for November 12th, 6 to 8 p.m. Yeah.
Discussion, all those in favor? Carried unanimous. And usually Rudy is, we can have department heads here or not. You know, I don't want to pressure anybody to do things. We usually have maps of some of the work, especially Public Works has done, you know, and then people can go to different areas to take a look. They're usually interested in where the road work was done, where the paving has been done, you know, what the population is, and anything else that you think is pertinent that they'd be interested in. Okay, so we've got that done. Drayton Valley and District FCSS. October 21st. Does that fit with anybody? I guess they're doing it anyway. We're on page 69. Just a motion to authorize any councillors that wish to attend. Pardon me? Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine with me. Donna?
I move to allow all of council to go to the Drayton Valley and District FCSS.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Or
Carried. Carried unanimous. Joint Municipal School Supper, March 6th.
So this was a suggestion from the Wild Rose School Board. We usually do this well in advance because it's all the municipalities, the Village of Breton, the Town of Drayton Valley, yourselves, and the school board. So they're throwing out a date of March 6th, details to follow.
Okay. Motion to authorize council to attend the March 6th meeting with the school division. Kara?
I like how pre-planning is going on this one. I'm actually available that day.
For now.
And- for now. But I like it because they'll be the first one in the gate on that day. So I move to authorize council's attendance at the Joint Municipal School Division Supper scheduled for March 6, 2025.
Discussion, all those in favor? Carried unanimous. FCM. I always thought that we should be doing the presentation, Kara, on our wastewater and stuff. We're way ahead of a lot of municipalities in the country. And we talk about that, and we talk about our business scenario and WEC. They'll allow you to feature certain communities. And I thought a tag team approach would work good with two different people, because we are different. What's your thoughts? Donna, this is where you bumped your head.
Is there time to get you guys on the agenda?
I don't know, all we can do is try.
I would love to see that. I mean, we are leaps and bounds ahead of lots of counties.
Yeah. Kara?
I agree. I think there's a chance to see if we can get a spot on there. The interesting thing, if the stars align, and I do win president of FCM, RMA, the president has a ex officio position on the executive table for FCM, so I would exert some power there, if I could,
And I
to help
talked to
this
the
cause.
CAO. I talked to the CAO twice, and she said
With
that,
Carol.
you know, she would, yeah,
Yeah.
that they would try to accommodate us.
I think we should try. I just don't have the schedule pulled up. I don't know how in concrete their scheduling is already. And so I would maybe suggest that staff reach out and see.
With the beauty of Brazeau in full bloom right now, do we have people taking pictures? I mean, I take some along the rivers and things, but the fall colors this year are spectacular because the wind hasn't blown them off.
I don't know that we specifically do, but we agree we should.
Should have a few snapshots. I've taken some along the rivers and things like that, and it's pretty breathtaking. We kind of take it for granted, but we haven't had those winds that rip the trees naked, and we've got a long fall that's going on here right now. But if we could capture some of that, some professional photography of this is Brazeau, you could have that in the background with all the other stuff we're doing. A new updated picture of the floating wetlands, the inside picture of the solar aquatics. And of course, we have to have a picture of pavement.
So I'm just quickly going through the registration. I'm not seeing anything in here, but I think we should reach out. The other thing is there's early bird rates. I think this is why this is here. So I think if we are considering sending anybody, should be decided today, the hotel rooms should get on hook or on booked. And one thing, just because of the travel that I do for my other job, watch for seat sales. I don't know if I'd book your flight right away, but a lot of these seats go on sale. Black Friday is coming up. And I know the other organization I belong to, we actually do a lot of our booking on Black Friday to save quite a bit of money.
Yeah,
So we actually pre-plan usually 6 months out, and we purchase our tickets on Black
so
Friday.
usually we send 3 people, or even 2 counselors. Is that what you guys want to do, or is there something different? Rudy?
Quickly at their schedule, Reeve, they don't have any specific workshops scheduled, but they have a lot of themes that they want to capture, many of which we would fit into. So I think that there's an opportunity. I'd be happy to reach out to FCM administration and see if we can get slated into one of the workshops.
And we need to spend a little money getting a first-class presentation.
Yep.
And I know that, like, we've got pictures of the Valley Grove Lagoon when it's all covered in duckweed, and it's not very pretty. We've got other ones where you got nice blue-looking water, and you got the solar floating wetlands, and it looks quite beautiful. It'd be nice to maybe get a shot of that, you know, before the leaves get ripped off there. And people like taking pictures, so we got staff that have to go out there every day or every so often. Donna?
We have a next to professional.
We do have Alice, we got a lot of Alice for
Do we?
all these Alice.
Oh, Glenn is amazing with those, with his drone. But I would like to make a motion to allow three people to, with 2 being presenters to FCM to see. Oh no, I want to make a
would just
motion.
keep it simple, just 3 people to attend FCM.
But my motion was supposed to be to see if we can get on the agenda with our resilient
Well,
community.
sustainable community.
Sustainable, yeah. So I'm not sure who, if administration or CAO or both, or,
Just to administration.
okay.
We consider Rudy as part of the team now.
So I'm sure Tina made that motion. I mean, made it good. Made it.
What did you decode, Tina?
You're authorizing 3 members of council to attend the FCM Sustainability Communities Conference in Fredericton, and the CAO,
Yeah,
council members and the CAO. And as part of that, our CAO will reach out to FCM to see about a presentation.
okay. Discussion, all those in favor? Those opposed? Want to keep our little secret, do we? Go ahead, Glenn. Glenn and Cody opposed.
Just because it's expensive. This is for sustainability, and you're gonna blow through about 38,000 liters of fuel just to get there, right? So I have a problem with anything, these sorts of conferences, but
But we're gonna
appreciate
make
that.
sure
If you
there's
do go,
no-
make sure to do a good presentation.
There'll be no chemtrails in our jets. All right, so 2 opposed, Cody and Glenn. What did I write down? Kara. Well, I got Kara as E.
I put on EDA only because I'm involved with it too as well. The rooms, this one actually books up, we attend this one usually every year. Rooms book up fast. But you have to register in order to hold your rooms, so.
Okay.
And there's an
I
early,
dropped out of ARPA.
sorry?
I dropped out of ARPA.
ARPA? Yeah, I did too.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll talk about it afterwards. The ARPA conference, the Recreation and Parks one. Yeah. Who else was gonna be going? I think Cody, you were gonna, yeah. They changed locations. It was supposed to be in Jasper. They moved it to Lake Louise, and you can't get a room at the hotel, and you're traveling every day. Anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, you're off-site. Yeah,
Yeah, so I just dropped out.
it's not as conducive. I'm a no, so Cody will be a no, because I think that was your ride down there. Well, I wasn't sure.
If you're driving, I'm not.
No. So this one, again, the early bird rates are out. I know it's not till April, but this one fills fast. They were also putting a call out for presentations, and I was wondering if it would be something WEC would wanna maybe make a presentation to some of the work that we're doing. So there's that option too here with that one, because I know they did put a call out for information.
Okay.
And it would be just a good way of just talking about what's going on in our community, with those around us, so.
So that, as long as you're not flying, you'd go to a conference in Glen.
This one I was jealous that I didn't go on.
Oh,
I seen some of the photos and stuff afterwards.
This one's huge, so you'll get like prairie cans, there'll be the feds there, yeah. Yeah, and then this is where they talk about, yeah, prairie cans will be there, and they'll talk about all the grants and stuff that you can get federally for stuff. It's a good way to, I'm not gonna choose my words wisely, but I'll just be frank, you can steal other ideas from other communities, and I mean, they could steal ours too. But I think this time we've got it was flagged in my phone actually to bring it up. First of all, to get the rooms because this one fills up, and book a spot because this one fills up fast. But the other thing is I would really like us to feature WEC. Yeah, yeah. So I move to authorize up to 3 council members to attend the ADA conference in April of 2025.
so you guys think it'd be all right for the WEC committee to attend then? Glenn, Karen, myself? Three what?
3 authorized 3 council members.
Okay. Generally, it's Reeve and 2 councillors is the policy, I think. Okay, Kara has a motion to authorize 3 people to attend the conference. I would do that regardless of if there's a change. I would book the 3 for now, whether we're on WEC or not. Okay. Any discussion? This is in April. All those in favor? Those opposed? C. Cody is opposed. All right, close, what's that, Glenn?
We should include some promotional materials too when we're down there. I don't think it's gonna cost a lot. Would we have to budget that $10,000 for some items that we could take to that conference? But it would be nice to have a pull-out screen, right, that you could bring to that.
I think maybe we should make a motion to have staff explore if we could do a WEC presentation, and then we could look at what we're gonna,
Okay.
yeah. Because I think even to pull out, I know what you're thinking about the pull screen thing. I think you have to book space to do that too as well. So maybe we should just have maybe a motion for council, or to direct to count, wow. Sorry, I've been fighting a flu since Friday. My brain is a brain fog today. Have staff explore what options we have that we could do to promote Brazeau County and WEC. Maybe?
I move to direct administration to investigate options for WEC advertising at the conference, at the EDA conference.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. Okay, we've got stars, and we've got public input. Rats. Huh? Rats. I guess we'll have to take a break. Any paperwork I gotta sign or anything, Tina, while we're waiting? I did that already. Sorry, I can't hear you, Tina. Could you page Dallas there, Tina? It's just about 11 o'clock here. Boy, you guys are getting good. All right, I'm going to call the meeting back to order here. It's 11 o'clock. It's an opportunity from people from the public, whether in the galleries or online, to bring forward any ideas or suggestions. And like always, I ask that if you've got a concern or something, if you had a solution, that would be great. So the floor is open. Can we look online there, Tina, to see who's on? No one? Oh. Okay. Anybody else got any comments?
Ellen Taylor. I've been following your minutes and agendas. I haven't been out of the picture. And Ag Board minutes, the last 3 or 4 minutes, or meetings, they've been discussing used oil. I don't know if you discussed this morning or not. I have no idea. But anyway, you know, there's only 2 people on the Ag Board that have told me what they do with their used oil. I don't know, Mr. Reeve, you're a big farmer. What do you do with your used oil? I have no idea. I mean, you got a county shop out here. I'm sure they don't take their graders and their trucks to Mr. Lube, so they got to have a tank back there for recycling, or somebody picks it up. I mean, I'd like to know what's happening.
Great. Well, there was a board that I did sit on a few times back in the olden days called the Used Oil Board. I'm not sure that's still working underneath the ARMA group there. Yeah. Go ahead if you want to highlight a little bit. It's just being picked up.
No, it's just under, all I had to add was it's under the Alberta Recycling Management Authority now.
Right.
Because I believe it was a separate,
I think
probably
this is
back in the day when you were there, Bart, it was probably a separate association?
It was.
It's all under the umbrella now of
Okay.
ARMA.
I think this is a big environmental concern. What do people do with used oil? I have no idea.
Great.
I know mine's sitting in I got about 6 barrels full.
Great.
And Green for Life picked it up once, no charge. Now I got to pay for it, and if I have to, I will. But I got to get rid of it soon. I mean, it's a contamination around your yard. I don't know how many people can change oil without spilling a drop of oil.
Great.
Very few. And I know, like, you guys all get a ratepayers concern per diem, $1,700 or plus. I see where nobody's not charging that, so you must be talking to your people out there. You're elected to work for the people. Could you not ask these people, or I don't know how you'd go about it, but find out if they're interested? I mean, this was brought up several years ago. It was turned down. And I know you guys have been talking to Leduc County at Sunnybrook, and I phoned Clearwater County the other day, and the lady at the desk said yes, they have a used recycling facility. And actually the Reeve phoned me, Mr. Williams, and he told me about Armour, which you just mentioned, and they have a used oil facility. It's only for the residents, not commercial, like your trucking outfits and that. It's just to help out your residents. The commercial people are not involved. He said they get, I think it's Recycle West to come and take it. They're on the list of ARMA, Alberta Recycling Management Authority. I looked up that list, Recycle West, Edmonton, Calgary, a few more are on that list. He said they do charge a fee of $150. Well, that's nothing, actually. I mean, I've seen per diems for guys in Calgary charged $2,400 for 2 days. I mean, you went to an ag board convention, how many people? I mean, thousands of dollars.
So I'm trying to separate, what are your issues? You-
Well, I want to know what you're going to do, if you're going to do anything to collect used oil.
Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda to have a
It's been on the
discussion.
ag board for how many meetings? I see no progress going there.
Okay,
Also, on the last ag board meeting, a motion was made to check into using drones with administration. I got an article right here from the Alberta farmer. Drones are illegal to spray with. They've only got a few sprays out there, and that's for spraying mosquitoes and certain insects. It has not been approved for chemical. They're working on it, but it has not been approved. Cortevia is in there. I talked to them this summer on spray use. I've seen an application, 2.5 times the rate. He said, I'd like to see what the field looked like. I have oversprayed along my fence line. I know what it looks like. But anyway, that's all I got. And, another question. This summer I'm driving back by my property. I'm seeing, well, Jesus, my beaver dams have been opened up. Who? Nobody asked. They just went on my property, went and opened my beaver dams. I phoned one of your representatives. He said, no, we wouldn't do that. We'd contact you. Phoned me back an hour later. Yes, one of our guys did do it.
and who did that? Sorry,
Your people. I don't know who your employees are, but it was your own people that opened up my beaver dams on my property.
allocation that if the beaver dam is flooding the road or potential to
It's
create
not
an
even
issue.
close to flooding the road, Bart.
Okay, just right on your whole, the dam and the
Took two
backwater?
small dams out on my property. I've got bigger dams upstream. They wanted to take them out years ago. I said, no. What if I need that quarter for cattle? You need water.
Great.
They're not bothering your road. They're quite a ways from your road, yeah.
Okay, we'll have to, usually when somebody brings up a concern that staff have been involved in, we usually do our own internal questioning to see why and what the rationale was, not just to accept it carte blanche.
Well, he said the young fellow went and did it, thought he was doing a good thing. And then I said, well, who supervises these people? He said, I do. Well, apparently not that great a job.
Okay,
But I wouldn't charge anybody with trespassing, but I pretty well knew who did it. And he said, well, no, they didn't, but he checked out and he did phone me back.
okay, well, that's good, he got back to you. but-
And he said, well, put the dams back. Well, you never put the dam back like a beaver does.
Great,
Sticks are there, but no dirt. But I don't know, I got these two papers. If you want them, I can leave them with you. It's page 7 on Alberta Farmer. And also, I know here's another thing on agriculture should be more aware about. There's a pretty good article in here. There is lead in used oil too.
there is what,
Lead in used oil.
right,
There's an article here of an old church building. They don't use lead in paint anymore.
right,
But the calves lick the paint off the building. I've seen that. I've had that happen once. It's not a very good sight when a calf gets into lead or batteries. You cannot save them, really. They're just instantly. I tried everything. It didn't happen. I researched, supposed to feed them milk, didn't happen. Just little things like you can put out to your people. I'm sure, I don't know. I like to read every farm paper I can. I mean, I'm a skim reader. I usually go back, but I got a couple of friends, they read from one page to the other. If I miss it, I phone them.
great.
But no, that's all I got, it's just
Okay,
these
well,
few
thanks
concerns.
for
But I'll
bringing
leave these
those-
papers with you over here.
Yeah, you can leave them with
And,
administration, and they can cut out the article and maybe put it in, for awareness. I know I read Farm Show from cover to cover. Glenn, did you have a question?
Anthony was first, but I'd like to address Mr. Taylor. We do have an open house tonight, 7 o'clock here at the county office. I'd implore you to come by. It's for our committees, so the ASB, this would be something that you would probably really fit in nicely with. But so yeah, it's you come and meet the councilors and talk to some of the other people interested in these committee positions, and yeah, we're a
I
welcoming
don't know,
place.
way you change the policies,
It's
if I'm eligible.
you can.
if I'm eligible.
Why would you not be? You should be eligible.
got a FOIP, so I don't know if I am. You guys change the policies, not me.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. I had asked.
That's for committees tonight?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
tonight's
I thought
too.
it was 13th and 14th, your open house for the public?
12th now.
Pardon?
It'll be on the 12th for that public meeting.
Okay,
But tonight, 7 o'clock, be here.
we've got another meeting.
We're gonna have some snacks and stuff too, so you're welcome.
I've got another meeting to go to, Friends of the Blind Man River, about fracking and use of water. It's coming
You
up.
could do more good on the ASB than you can at these other meetings, so I'm just letting you know.
Well, I'm sure I could be interviewed after. I mean, I don't know that much about farming, Glenn. So,
Anthony, you got a question?
Yeah, we made a motion at the last Ag Service Board meeting to bring the costs for an oil facility, for a used oil collection facility to be brought to council. So the direction has been made for it to come to council. And so council has to decide that because the ASB doesn't have the dollars or the authorization to be able to, go ahead with the construction of something like that. So it's been directed to come to council.
could you not extend a bigger tanker in your shop and have it brought there? I mean, this is something that's almost got to be done year-round. I mean, I know you have it once a year. When I drain oil, I take the lids off my pails, and I use most of my empty pails for feeding grain or pallets. That's why I store in barrels. So now I got the problem, trying to get got 6 barrels sitting at home right now.
No, we need a facility, I think, that's for sure.
Okay, no, I just wondered because, I mean, it was very interesting when the Reeve phoned me back from Clearwater County. He stated a lot of stuff and what they're doing there. I mean, you can check for yourself. I mean, I'm kind of glad he phoned me back. I'm just kind of researching I mean, Leduc County, that's been at Sunnybrook for years. I brought that up probably 10 years ago. Nothing was ever done. Now you're researching that one. There's different, I don't know I never asked him what facility he got there at Rocky, but you could do a quick question. I don't know what it costs per tank. I mean, you could extend to this one. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Just
and
that we
there could
should
be-
have something because it is an environmental concern for agriculture and everybody else.
Well, it's a revenue stream. I think some of the luber shops, they actually sell the oil. They actually have people that buy the oil from the used oil. Because it's put back into the system one way or the other. Recycled.
See, Green for Life picked mine up before and they take it back to Onaway and they put that oil through a separator and they use the fuel to feed their asphalt plants. But
Right.
now it's a feeding, which, that's what it costs. It costs a fee here, no matter what you got. What can you do anymore for not paying money? I don't know too many things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming in. Anybody else online? Boy, that Ag Service Board, I'll tell you. Well, if there's nobody else online, we'll come out of enclosed, and I guess we'll take a break till, go ahead, Cody.
I would like to add under meeting dates, ratification of attendance at Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee.
For yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, we'll
Just
add it
in
to the
brief.
agenda first.
yeah, I move to add, ratification of attendance at the Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee, to the agenda under meeting dates.
Discussion, all those in favor? That's carried. Do you want to talk about that item?
Yeah, so just briefly, I attended their last meeting. My goal there was, I was just presenting the beginnings of a resolution to deal with the shortage in various healthcare professions and some of the things we can do regarding that and the internationally trained professionals that we have in the country that can't work in their fields right now. So that was what I kind of presented. It's in the early stages. I'm not really sure if council I was at the meeting, but I can't vote. couldn't really participate in a lot of the discussion. So whether council wants to or not, I'm easy, but I was just bringing that to council for, at least to let you know that I was there.
Okay. Alrighty. Carrie, you're still our member on the RPAP board, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so we've added Cody, he's looking for ratification. Didn't we vote on that? To add it? We added it and we voted on it? Yeah. So now it's whether or not you want to support his attendance. Donna?
I move to ratify Cody's attendance at the Physicians Recruitment Board.
Discussion? Discussion? All those in favor? All right. You're ratified. Oh, you're opposed? You were opposed? Okay. Yeah, Dallas was opposed. So we've got time for lunch. Go ahead, Glenn.
I just got an email, so this is from Kiara. It says, join us for an evening of networking in celebration of this year's RMA Fall Convention. It's Wednesday, November 6th, 6 o'clock till 9. I went last year. I think we all did, but some of us weren't registered to go, so that you don't have a tag ready. So if you see that email, please register this time around, just to make it a little easier to get in.
And who is that?
That was the
Kiara?
Kiara one over at the Fairmont Hotel McDonald. And they had that last RMA. And yeah, it was, you're trying to get past the bouncer basically, but it's free to go to if you're already out RMA, but yeah, I would just register anyways, if you get that email. If you don't, let me know and I'll pass it on to you.
Just register me. It gets so busy at RMA that I don't know where I'm gonna go. It's hard to pre-register myself anyway. You just kind of go wherever the flow is. What's that? Yeah. You know, that's something, Glenn, as a new council, you must quite enjoy, is the doors that are opened up and the different people that you get to meet at these functions that you'd never generally meet. You have to print my name, because I'm too shaky to print. Well, I'll call the meeting back to order. We have a presentation by Stars. You can take it away anytime you're ready.
Great. Well, first and foremost, it's great to see all of you again and to bring you your annual update. I also want to introduce you to my colleague, my new colleague, Shannon Paquette.
Hello, Shannon.
She is out of the Edmonton base. You know, it's a very large province, and we still have a few municipalities that I'll show you later on the map that we still need to get in front of, and also expand to more of the towns and the rural cities as well. So that's going to become my new role. So Shannon will be, from here on, be the one that's bringing you your annual update each year.
Perfect.
So we'll get started then. First and foremost, next year, STARS is celebrating 40 years of serving Albertans, our 40th anniversary, and always maintaining as a charitable model so that there is no cost to the patient. And that has all been possible for all 40 years because of partnership. Okay? So currently, I'm sure you heard all the great news that we finally have signed another 10-year long-term affiliation agreement in place with Alberta Health Services. This is now at $15 million block funding, so roughly about 44% of our operational budget, still leaving us 56% each year that must be fundraised. Next slide, please. So to explain this map as we go on a little bit, since our last update, I've added 9 more rural municipalities, as well as we have now added 14 urban municipalities. So towns and villages, we're starting to reach out more, and now with Shannon, we'll be able to cover more ground as well and get in front of more of the town councils. So we're also building regional partnerships. So currently, we have 94% of Alberta's municipalities in partnership. So the gray areas show those that are still contributing at a less than $2 per capita rate. The going thing is that we are trying to get to a minimum $2 per capita each year, and that range goes as high as $90 per capita and everything in between. So you are one of our regional partners and leaders that are at a higher rate. Next one. Now you see the navy blue area. These are all the municipalities across the province and into northeastern BC that are somewhere in the $2 to $90 per capita rate. So you can see very much it is a significant united partnership. And these are our municipal leaders that have now achieved at least a minimum cumulative $500,000 over the years that they have been supporting STARS. And so they are all represented on the helicopter. So we have 9 municipal leaders. Last year we welcomed Sturgeon County that crossed that threshold. And this year in June we had a logo unveiling for Birch Hills County. The red outlines, there's 16 in total. Now the red outlines represent complete regional partnerships, meaning that every town and village that lies within a county's boundaries is also a supporter of STARS. So we will be working on that more and getting in front of more councils. But it really does reflect a united partnership amongst all our municipalities, including into northeastern BC, to ensure that we all have access to a robust health and safety network every day, through the protective services. Next. So this is a bit of a year in review. We've now passed more than 37,000 emergency requests that come through our Emergency Link Center each year. We are now at $11.4 million per base across Alberta. So with rising demand, increasing costs, fuel costs, medical supplies, it has increased, our per base cost. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see a bit of incident types. I thought that would be of interest to you as well. On an overview, about 20% for trauma, medical, cardiac and stroke, and vehicle incidents. So about 20% each is the different types of missions that we fly. Next slide. And of course, STARS is borderless. We are 6 bases across Western Canada. We are now averaging 11 missions per day. More than 60,000 missions have been flown to date. Our air medical crew are cross-trained with each other's roles, as well as all crew and all assets cross borders. So I wanted to provide you a little, just kind of a look into the day of air medical crew, our crew. And you can see that although we average 11 missions per day, on this particular day, 18 times that we were dispatched. Now I want to show you, like on the description, you can see a lot of different incidences that our crew face in a day. This is across all 6 bases. You'll see the STARS bases that were listed there. And in the disposition. Now we're not always transporting by helicopter. Sometimes with that NICU incident on number 3, then we brought the specialty team, and the patient was transported by ground ambulance with the specialty team. So sometimes this is an occurrence. As well, a mission that was canceled on number 6 there, no transport, so it was not medically required then once we were en route. Mission canceled for alternate transport. So, you know, our transport physicians in the Emergency Link Center, they make all the determination for what mode of transport, what receiving hospital, and other patient needs. You know, if they need to schedule a neurosurgeon or the cardiac cath lab. This is all happening in the background so we can save precious time while we're en route with the patient. A lot of others that the patient was transported by STARS, and number 10, you'll see that the patient was transported by ground with STARS air medical crew. So this happens as well. If it is of a critical nature, our crew will also go on Alberta Health Services fixed wing as well as ground transport if it's required for that particular patient, depending on the circumstances. But really kind of really gives you a good snapshot of what's happening in one day in the life of our crew. Next slide, please. So I want Shannon to give you a little bit of our operational overview.
Hello. So now I'd like to show you the 5-year mission overview for Brazeau County. So your county averages approximately 21 missions per year, and you can see that STARS has provided critical care for many communities and residents within your boundaries. You'll also see that interfacility transfers are noted as well. They're included because as first responders take the critically injured patient to your nearest local hospital, and the severity of the injuries, they require STARS, and STARS is called. Oh, and this is my favorite slide to share. So this is our postal code project, which provides us valuable information. So you can see the stats are from since 2010. On the left-hand side, the boundaries of your county, and the blue dots indicate residents that were flown within the boundaries. But if you take a look at the right side of the screen, all those red dots, you will see that in addition to the 156 individuals that were picked up and cared for within your boundaries, 34 residents were flown by STARS in 19 other locations across 2 provinces. So this is a testament that we provide critical care to your residents wherever they travel across Western Canada. So this image is from our Emergency Link Center, which is located out of our Calgary base. They work closely with 911 and handle the logistics of coordinating critical care response 24/7, 365 days a year. They receive over 37,000 emergency requests annually. And as STARS is the dedicated critical care provider in Alberta, we are also responsible for dispatching HALO and HERO in northeastern and southeastern Alberta as well. And as Glenda mentioned, at STARS we're transport agnostic, so not only does our crew travel by the helicopter, we can provide care via ground ambulance, fixed wing, or even virtually. So an example of virtual would be if an individual patient was brought to your local hospital and STARS was called and we were dispatched. Well, while we are on the way, the transport physician can be providing procedural guidance to the local staff at the hospital. And then once we have the patient and we're on our way to the receiving hospital, we can give them updates so they can prep the OR, and we bypass the ER. So this saves time on both ends. Oh, the massive hemorrhage protocol. So, so STARS, this is brand new as of last October. Not only do we carry up to 4 units of blood in our helicopter, but for mass trauma patients that have lost over 2 units of blood, we can do our massive hemorrhage protocol, which reverses anticoagulation and promotes blood clotting in severe trauma patients. So it gives us more time to get to the hospital.
And of course, after 37 years of being in service, we flew our longest mission. It was for a hunter in the rugged mountains of northern BC, as you'll see, way north of Chi House. And Doug McTavish, he suffered a major heart attack. More than 2,400 liters of fuel, more than 1,700 kilometers flown, 8.2 flight hours, 5.3 hours in the air with this patient equals 1 life saved. It was an absolutely amazing, miraculous mission. And it's a good news story as well. He was reunited with his Grand Prairie crew. You can see all the different areas where our link center was in the background to coordinate all the different areas we could go in order to refuel and get this patient back to tertiary care. It is, it's astounding for us, you know, after 37 years to do a mission like this. They said if you fly in a straight line, it was flying from Calgary to Los Angeles. But again, 1 life saved. So critical care anywhere. Our Air Medical Transport Conference, I brought you information about this before. It's a very rigorous competition. This is on the international stage. So different helicopter EMS programs from around the world will send a team of 2 to compete against each other for the honor of being the best. And so we have participated. We host our own internal competition. This year, Grand Prairie was the host base. So then we recreate an actual case that has been seen. And we have our teams of 2 from all 6 bases come to compete against each other as to who is going to have the honor of representing STARS at the international level. This year it is the Regina base that will be competing at the end of October. The recreation was a riverboat accident on the Wapiti River out of Grand Prairie, 5 critical patients. The boat had floated down to the other side of the river where there was no sandbar for the helicopter to land. So the helicopter was at the sandbar. We worked with all different entities of the chain of survival. So there was the conservation officers, RCMP, the Grovedale Fire Department, the ground ambulance was there at the riverbank edge, STARS. So it was, and everyone that was on the original scene participated in this training scene again. This happened in June of this year. Really, such an unbelievable coming together of all entities working together. Our crew members had to hover exit onto the boat in order to reach the patients. And then we also worked with technical search and rescue using their riverboat in order to get other patients back to where the helicopter and as well to the ground ambulance. So really incredible opportunity to recreate an actual case. In the 21 years that STARS has participated in this international competition, STARS has placed first 7 times out of the 21 years. This is in the world, and we have been in the top 3 in the world all 21 years. We're very proud to bring your residents the highest level of critical care available in Alberta. And so closing, I want to say thank you again. Thank you, Brazeau County, for being one of our regional leaders. Last year or the year before, I asked you to move to a fixed rate of support, that we would not see any more fluctuation on a standing motion, meaning that you recognize us as part of the emergency protective services that you provide for your residents each year. So we are a line item in your budget each year. We cannot thank you enough for that sustainability. In your area, you're averaging about 21 missions per year, so almost twice a month, then on average that we would be within your area. We are now providing physical and virtual response, so this is a great opportunity and asset to work more closely with your medical professionals at your local hospital here. Together, we are enhancing rural health care. That's a significant point. Your residents have access to 24/7 access to STARS across Western Canada from our 6 bases, always remembering no cost to the patient. At 11 missions per day, a life is saved every day. But partnership has made it possible, going on 40 years, and you have been a significant part of that. We thank you. And with that, we would like to offer you a small token of our appreciation for the outstanding partnership that we share. This is with the brand new helicopter.
great. Nice, thank you. Thanks on behalf of the county here, thanks. A picture of the picture?
Everybody get their suit jacket on. Gotta get the Brazeau suit jacket.
Where do you want us? Can we just stand up here?
Brazeau County, thank you for your partnership with STAR and dedication to saving lives.
Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Because I'm already done. What's that?
I wasn't smiling.
1, 2, 3. There we got it.
And this is from all the ones you're gonna do.
Well, I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy to keep bringing you information. Shannon's going to be excited to bring you information. I'll put your contact information. No, I am going to be, taking that now. Work on that. And I'm going to go all through, see what's passed on it, and all these different rural cities. Regional partnership here between the county and Tampa. So those are the kind of the things that we are focused. So and she's co-located out of Edmonton Bay, so that makes it much easier for her to cover central Alberta. And then
Well, we enjoyed your company and your presentation.
well, thank you so
Take,
much.
take the rest of the day off.
Thank you very much. We've been on a little bit of a road trip here the last 20 days. But thank you very much for these kind gifts. Thank you. We saw that you had last year's
Yeah.
impact report out on your area there, so we brought you some new impact reports for this year. And a newsletter, and of course, the brand new 40th anniversary calendar, so there's lots of lovely tidbits across the 40 years. One for your fire department.
Okay.
And then, of course, more information on the digital program that I told you about before, where, you're having like an annual rodeo once a year, something where it may be trauma. It's very inexpensive for you to register the site for $6 a day or $12 per weekend, and then you have direct access to the
Oh, that's something to add.
So
To the
it
4-H
really should be
groups and
something that you would look into.
rodeos.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so there you are, nice spread of tips. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, we should have a motion to, receive the report for information. Tara,
I move to receive the STARS report for information.
discussion? All those in favor? Thanks. And you see, you were the last item on the agenda, so we stuck around here just for you guys. So motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn? Anthony,
I move to adjourn.
Discussion, all those in favor? There.
Safe drive home.
How many of us around the table has been on STARS?
What's that?
How many of us around the table have been on STARS?
I helped load people onto STARS when I was on
I've
the
been
fire
on STARS.
department.
You've been on STARS?
Yeah, and
No, I'm
cracked,
like, how many
cracked
have
my
been on
neck.
STARS? How many have had an immediate family member on STARS?
Just me.
Look at that. How many have like, not immediate, but a friend or you know someone that's
Yeah.
on STARS?
No?
Really tell us? Well, other than the ones around. You know?
I went flying through the trees at about 60 miles an hour. I hit an approach.
That was your own fault, though.
No, a deer came in front of me. I swerved, tried to miss the deer, lost control, and then through the ramp. And the farmer actually was putting his chickens away. He said he saw these headlights about 15 feet off the ground coming through the bush.